Grizz Nation, good morning. Happy playoffs. It is round one, game one. Grizzlies take it on the Lakers here at home. Joining me from LA, Allie Clifton. We ready for playoffs?
I am so ready. I'm beyond ready. That's why I told you, if you ever need me for these, every single game, I got you. The hype is real. I love this time of year.
I love this time of year too. I'm like sitting here watching play-ins and like the playoffs yesterday. And I'm like, I get so like nervous and like antsy during this time.
Same. And we don't have to score a point, but here we are.
Don't have to lace up our shoes.
Right.
All right. So for the Grizzlies, it is the same couple guys who are out is Brandon Clark and Steven Adams. Both big pieces missing for that Grizzlies lineup. This Lakers, though, seem to be the healthiest they've been all season, having everyone play. Because I think we played you guys 3 times, and I don't think AD and Braun played together in a game against the Grizzlies this year.
Correct. And there was obviously that matchup to the last one where you guys didn't have Ja. So it's funny. It's interesting because I went to practice yesterday or a couple days ago before the team took off. And it was almost like you have to kind of think about how much can you really go back and dive into those matchups, because when you tip the ball up today, it's going to be completely different rosters in a sense when it comes to putting your best foot forward and having your strength out there. We haven't really seen that this year, to your point.
So that's what makes it kind of even more exciting, I'm going to say, because it also is 2 teams that rely very heavily on 2 stars, one on the exterior in Ja and LeBron, and one for each team on the interior, and that's AD and Jaren Jackson Jr. I want maybe you to start talking from your end, from the Lakers side, what they need, what those 2 guys need to be able to show in this series in order for the Lakers. I mean, I want to say start off with a win in game 1, but also just like overview of the series.
Yeah, I think each guy in particular actually have said it. If you talk to them, understanding going into this matchup, who you're up against, obviously how good Memphis is. I believe 35-6 at home. Obviously your fan base, it's all a part of the postseason, right? The level of intensity increases. And so getting started off on the right foot, and it certainly does start with Anthony Davis and LeBron James, but from just a energy and an intensity, an awareness, a focus level, it all has to be at an elite level from man 1 to 15. And those 2 do set the example there. And I think that's first and foremost where it begins before you even dive into X's and O's, is understanding the level for which you have to be locked in, especially when you're starting on the road. And as we all know, you have to win at least one game to move on. So it starts there. And then I think when you dive into it, just the efficiency from LeBron, I think his mindset's going to be there. That's the one thing. It's one of his biggest strengths when it comes to this time of year, but the efficiency offensively and also taking care of the basketball for him, just because he dictates so much. His command, his communication on the defensive end is the 3 things that I think of most when it comes to him. And then for Anthony Davis, it has to start and stop with him on both sides of the ball. We are, again, I am not scoring a point. The Lakers are one of the better teams, especially since the trade deadline. And I think that's where you can observe them, because that is the roster that they currently have, right? Especially on the defensive side of the basketball because of Anthony Davis. And so I think setting that tone there, but also he's got to get touches offensively. And to your point of no Brandon Clark and no Steven Adams, maximizing that, as well as understanding where, as dominant as Jaren Jackson Jr. is, and obviously certainly capable to be this year's defensive player of the year, kudos and respect to him, he can get into foul trouble. And I think understanding that and being able to maximize it will be key, starting with those 2.
Yes, you brought that up. Record-wise, the Lakers and the Grizzlies are the 2 best teams since the trade deadline. So this like really is going to be
fun
a season or a series. AD. So in the 2 games that he played, he is for the against the Grizzlies, he's averaging 29 points per game, shooting 56% from the field, 20.5 rebounds per game, Allie, and 3.5 blocks. Like, he's just been so dominant. And I don't think you really, and I was looking at it, I don't think Jaren necessarily starts on him. I think X does, but Jaren is definitely there, like blocking, like kind of roaming. And so I think staying out of foul trouble, and the exact opposite thing that you just said, is going to be such a key for Jaren, and then Ja just getting locked in. I think another question coming from like just looking at how these two teams play so good in the open court. Neither team like spectacular at transition defense though.
Mhm.
How do you slow down Ja?
It's funny, at practice on Friday before the team took off, D'Angelo Russell spoke with us after practice, and Dave McMenamin, shout out to him, it was hilarious because we all understand how important Ja is to this series and in general. And he started off with, how do you slow down Ja? And D'Angelo made a comment of, I'd actually really like to just focus on us and what we need to do.
Sure.
And so Dave twisted it a bit and said, all right, so what do you guys need to do as a team, basically, to get started off on the right foot, and obviously try and split, if not win both, right? Put your best foot forward. And D'Angelo said, contain Ja. And I say all that to say, because it was a funny moment, but also the reality is it is Ja Morant. It starts and ends with him for you guys, from a big picture. And I think you just go back and look at that February matchup when he simply just took over in the third quarter. I mean, he's dominant. He is so explosive. He's so talented. We know all the things. His ability to change directions, change speed, and really just take over a game single-handedly. You're not going to stop him, but being able to throw different looks, different bodies, a steady diet of different at him all game, and not being afraid to be physical. I like the Lakers obviously have on their side now Jared Vanderbilt. I think of not just one guy, but you start at the attack with someone like him, who's an energy guy, who prides himself, relishes the moment. And then as a squad, you have to be 5-man on a string. And you're fortunate right now that you've got Anthony Davis playing that back line. LeBron James, you got Austin Reeves, who's willing to be a part of the team defensive scheme as well, where he needs to be, but the toughness. Dennis Schroeder, who won't back down from a challenge. And so I'm confident the Lakers have some guys that they can throw at him. You're not going to stop him, but you have to make it difficult. And that's certainly at the top of the priority list defensively for the Lakers.
And I think that would be the exact, I want to just take the words that you just said, throw them over to our side, because that's what Dylan Brooks is going to be doing as he matches up against LeBron James. You're not stopping LeBron. You're just trying to make his life a little more difficult for 48 minutes. I want to just ask you, because I could talk to you all day, but Twitter keeps it to 10 minutes. We talked Ja, Jaren, LeBron, and AD. Can you give me one or two X factors for the Lakers that are not those two guys?
I'm going at the start of the series with D'Angelo Russell. Large in part, D'Lo he's a unique talent, how capable he is, obviously offensively, but from a scoring threat, a playmaking option, someone who has made it very known that he doesn't need to be the number one option. He's okay with being that third or fourth option, but he can't settle into being that third. This team needs him to score and to play make and to be locked in at a high level. I think where we noticed and felt that maybe not so much the case as you go back to the regular season, the Houston game where Lakers dropped on the road without LeBron and AD, but then also fast forward to that play-in opportunity against Minnesota. It wasn't his best performance. Did he flush that down the toilet? Did he get back to, what he needs to in practice in the gym over the last couple of days? Absolutely. You're confident in his ability to do so. But he's the guy I'm looking forward to, just seeing how he will handle the moment, how he'll handle the pressure, but also just rising to the occasion, because I think he's someone that can certainly make an impact offensively, first and foremost, and do it in a consistent and a big way. I'm going D'Lo.
A very vet-led team to be able to flush performances and move on and be in the moment when you need to be in the moment. I think for Grizzlies fans watching, an X factor to look out for our team will be Desmond Bane. Dylan on the defensive end, but offensively, Desmond Bane, if he can knock down threes. We've seen it all season long, the games where he's, at least not even making shooting 10 threes. The Grizzlies give themselves a better chance. It opens up the floor for Ja. So I'm going to go with Desmond Bane. I am so excited. Game 1 today. Allie.
Me too.
It's really the postseason. I'm so excited I get to do this alongside you. So thank you so much for your time today.
We'll be like Taylor Jenkins and Darvin Ham. We will still get along no matter what happens in the series off the court.
Like you said, we're not playing. So
so fun. Girl, thanks for having me.
No, thank you so much. This one is on ABC. It is a big national, big time game. So watch that one. And oh my gosh, I'll see you for game 2. That's crazy.
Sounds good.